pieces of new business and some concerns that are out there. That we had some very good input on the road concern. One of the things regarding the roads is with a lot of the discussion that we've had just this afternoon, this evening, it appears to me that there is a need to reactivate the ad hoc road committee, or reactivate a ad hoc road committee to help us with some of these pieces. The planning committee, the ad hoc planning committee, was dissolved in the last meeting, so there's no one to help support the board. And I'd like to have a discussion with the board if they'd like to activate
ad hoc, or do you want to get a roads committee going again instead of an ad hoc, an actual road committee?
I'd like to get an actual road committee and give people time to submit their names. There's a lot of people left and they don't even know.
Well, the ad hoc committee is needed until it's not needed anymore. That's the only difference between having a permanent committee versus a short time.
To specifically look at this one subject only.
This one subject, a long-term, to look at, you know, how to implement a long-term road plan.
But not, you know, I mean, there's got to be other factors than just long-term road plan.
Oh, that's what you're doing.
Where are they at? Yeah, we actually do that.
So we've got a recommendation from one.
But we need to carry it to the next level.
To carry it to the next level. Once we decide on what the plan is through the reserve study, then how is it implemented? Who does the specs? Who do we hire to do that?
I'm fine with that.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we reinstate or reactivate the ad hoc road committee.
Are we?
That we create a ad hoc road committee.
I would second that. I'd like to have some discussion.
Okay.
Are we going to contact the ad hoc committee that we had and give, since they were involved with all this?
No.
Or are we going to?
I think we asked for volunteers.
To the membership and.
To the membership. Who wants to be on it?
And I think it's something we also need to put out to people that aren't here.
I agree.
And give a certain amount of time for them to submit their name to the board.
I agree. According to the rules and committee rules that we've discussed previously, and I think we're going to vote on next item, we would put it out for people, volunteers, and then we would agree to the membership at the next meeting.
Okay. So we were going to give them 3 weeks to reply then with their names.
At the next regular meeting.
Okay.
I would think that we need to set a date, maybe 1 week prior.
1 week prior to the next one.
Get everybody who's interested to have their names submitted by 1 week prior to the next board meeting. And then we would do the.
When's the next board meeting?
Is this going to be
Our board
limited
meeting
to
is
6
30th.
people?
No, I
Yes,
want more
it
than 6 people.
No, you want to keep a committee small.
Well, let's take the volunteers and then we'll
10.
have a discussion on
Right.
who's on the committee.
When's the next board meeting?
Next
30th.
board meeting's on the 30th of April.
So by the
23rd.
1 week prior.
Okay, so
I have a motion, I have a second, any more discussion?
not at this point.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Cheryl has a question.
Motion passes. Yes, Cheryl.
Yes, Cheryl Riddle, I have a question. Last year in June, you put out for the same thing. You asked for members to be on the road committee, asked for people to volunteer. I volunteered and I was accepted. I have the email to prove it. It came from Sue. Now, did you abandon all those people that volunteered at that time and are just now going to say, well, forget all of that, you're going to take all different new volunteers now? Or are we...
Are you still interested? Volunteer.
If I didn't speak up, if I wasn't speaking up right now, I wouldn't have, yes, I am interested because I was accepted back in June and I just wondered what happened to the committee. It never got formed.
Let's.
Or never,
Cheryl, do me a favor, just send me an email so we can put it on record.
Yes,
Yep.
I will.
Yep, that's all
I'd
we're
like to
asking for.
volunteer too, please.
All right, send us an email.
Send us an email and
We'll get you on the list.
Respond. Yeah, you can respond to the one that I send out and you'll get added to a list.
post it at the
What happened
mailbox
to
too,
those
please.
packets?
Sure.
Okay, next piece of new business is, we touched on it earlier, but the adventure. the Odyssey Adventure.
I have a question on that.
Yes.
If, I understand why you, Joe, you guys wanna go look at a road that's been exposed for 10 years. But wouldn't it make sense to, we're putting it down in Deschutes County to see even how it works before we worry about going to Washington?
If,
I mean, it just seems like it saves money, you know, it's gonna cost money to go to Washington when we're gonna have it done right
You
here.
guys are volunteering.
I'm volunteering to
pay
go.
for
Volunteering to go.
it's gonna cost
And the
association
problem
anything.
is, if you let the county put it in, our county put slag on some roads. They had to come back and take it up the next year. County did it, so you watch them put it down 1 year. That doesn't mean that next year, year after, they don't take it up. If we look at something, Adams County has been doing it for 10 years. There's another county in,
Next to it.
next to it, closer to Spokane, that has been doing it. You go look at something that's been down for 8 or 10 years, you can see if it's failing, you can see what it's doing. And if Deschutes County puts it down this summer, you don't know for 7 or 8 years to see what that is. And we're talking about a 2-day trip. That's at no expense to this board.
And my other question is, how do we compare their roads?
Yes.
Because our type of road here is
We're on
unique.
coming,
How do we compare it to the road in Washington?
that's right.
We're gonna ask questions. We're
Right,
gonna-
I'm
we're
not,
gonna-
I'm
we're
just
gonna go over
saying,
there and talk to
these
people.
are just questions that are coming up.
We don't have, that's why we want to go
When we
on.
go.
Okay.
We don't have the only soil of this type, and had you been at the meeting on the 10th, you would have heard the discussion that we want to know soil types in all of the different places that it's gone down, and any of that compares. That was discussed at our,
Okay.
when the ad hoc committee presented it, and that's when we discussed going there to talk about those specifics.
The reason this is on the agenda is to see if anybody else wanted to go, you know, I mean, we're gonna go.
Chris.
Yeah, you wanted, you potentially, you know, it's not gonna, we're not gonna charge the association anything. We wanna go for our knowledge and talk to people and to answer some of these questions that came up today. Yes?
Marlene Craig, if it's not going to be done here, if we're allowed to vote and it's voted out, why go and check them out?
Why not? I can go anywhere on my own dime.
If it's on your own dime, yes.
It's on my own dime.
Okay.
Derek had a question.
Yeah.
Paul Breed, could you, it's just a reminder, but could you take video cameras or whatever you would
Guaranteed.
to be showing us at another meeting
Guaranteed.
what you saw, what you found, with the person's voice, and you know what I'm saying, that we are listening to people talking about it that have done it.
Yes.
We need pro
And then my other question,
We need pro and con.
Okay.
and my other question is, if we don't have $1 million in the bank, and we've only been collecting the reserve for 2 years, well, we haven't even collected for this year yet, since last year, how are you gonna cover the cost?
That's all gonna be in the discussion when we talk about the reserve study update.
And hopefully it's not a credit card.
It's not mine.
Derek, did you have a question?
That's a very valid question. That's one of the solutions we have to come up with. It's a cash flow issue. You know,
It is a big cash
It's a
flow,
big
you have
cash
to have
flow
that
issue.
$1 million, and it's gonna take a few years for it to
It's a big cash flow
accumulate.
issue. Yes. Okay?
And hopefully
Sure.
there may not be something else we need to use it for.
Yes,
We're talking about our
when you
adventure.
were
not roads.
talking about the samples that you took through all of our soils, you said a professional came and did these samples and this. Is this professional a secret, or is it something that somebody you can tell us who this professional was that came and took these samples of our roads? Because you have not mentioned who this professional is.
It's not a secret. Tim Pyle, myself, and Vic Russell went around and took samples.
You guys are all professionals.
I said a
Which
experienced professional.
professional? Who's the experienced professional?
I think Vic Russell built roads.
He doesn't do
Bull.
anything with this stuff.
He does not.
He don't do chip seal.
He does
I-
not.
All he does is blacktop.
All I wanted,
And that's
all I
bad.
said is we went around and looked at the base
And
of
that's
the
bad.
roads. It says we have an adequate base. Now, whomever does a process on here is gonna have to buy into the adequate base of our roads.
That's right.
And Kim Pyle several years ago went around with professionals too.
Yeah.
And it
Okay,
was gonna cost $40,000 per lot.
we're off topic now, we were talking about our venture, I've taken your input right now. That's not the last time the association's gonna have input into the roads.
Professionals
definitely.
built the Titanic.
Okay, we have a final resolution, committee operating procedures. Sue, do you want to address these were the changes that we made the last time we discussed it?
Over the last meeting, we talked about allowing the committee chairs to notify the webmaster of meeting notices.
Yes.
So in the changes that I sent out, I highlighted the changes. So I also went through the document and updated it as well. So in the first paragraph, I've crossed out special and just calling them ad hoc committees.
Okay.
Because that's all we really have is ad hoc committees. And then down on number 7, under committee structure, under the vacancies, the second sentence, notice will be given by the board to the association. If there is a posting of, for a vacancy on one of the committees. So the chairman has to notify us to, let them know that they have a vacancy. And then on number 10, I removed the last sentence.
Right.
Then on number 11, I added 11, and for the meeting notices, that's the new one.
Right.
Where
Okay.
the chair will notify the webmaster. They still need to notify the board secretary so that the postings can be sent, put up at the mail center, etc. Then on number 12, I brought up the paragraph from down below from committee that says committee shall, when preparing written committee report. So it's just been moved from under committees in relation to the vendors. It didn't seem to fit in that section, so I brought it up underneath that. And then the next change was moving the paragraph, all committee actions out from under committees in relation to vendors up underneath as the last paragraph in committees in relation to the board of directors.
Right.
And then that's really, and then I just documented what the changes were. So unless the board sees additional changes, because now is the time, to update the document if there's other changes to be made. Then
I was under the impression that we're also notifying, not just by the mail center and the website, but also by email.
that's up to the secretary to do.
Right, but it just said the secretary will be, all meeting notices for posting at the mail center, but I don't see where they have notifying by email.
We left that out.
So at mail center, email.
And email.
Yeah, the chair doesn't email everybody, the
No, it's the
secretary.
secretary.
Right, but that's what I said, that
Right.
the board secretary.
So it reads right now, the chair will notify the board secretary of all meeting notices for posting at the mail center and email.
And email.
Right.
Okay. Are there any other additions or changes?
I move that we, with stated changes, put committee operating procedure addendum revision 2.
I second it.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, a couple things on here still remain concerns of the board. There was something about annual picnic.
Yes, we were considering having the annual picnic this year be totally separate from the owners' meeting, and that way people could just enjoy, it would not be political in any way, just have the picnic be when all the neighbors come together and just enjoy the food, and it's not political. And so we'd like to separate those 2 dates. And we think it would probably behoove us all.
They tried that.
A lot of people
Yeah.
come in.
We also
from out of
thought
town.
that we might be able to get more speakers to attend, but I'm not sure if this year's gonna be any better with the fire season. But, cause we usually try to call in the US Forest Service and the fire chief and, different kind of people to speak and.
Right, but one of the ways of the picnic is people who come in, is there.
Can we do the picnic first, and do the picnic first and then the meeting, and that even gives more time for voting?
I kinda like to do it on I kinda like the idea of doing it on one day, but I'm flexible.
Well, it's board to say, it's just a thought we had. We
It
thought
was
that
a
it'd be
thought,
more
for
enjoyable.
the same reason some people don't like to come to the meetings, that maybe if we separated the picnic from the meeting, that we would get more people to come and enjoy.
Yeah, but think of it like a mid-state meeting.
I mean, I like it just to do the picnic first instead of doing it second, because I notice people just are frustrated, they leave. So this time do the picnic first, and that gives time for people to vote and relax and then.
Let's have some input from the,
Yeah, input, we've tried that before, what you were just talking about, and it doesn't work. People go to the picnic and then they go home, they don't come to the meeting, so you don't get
Well,
people,
that would be okay.
you don't get, yeah, you don't get people there to vote and do their voting like they're supposed to at the annual meeting. That's what the annual meeting's all about,
That's right.
is getting the homeowners to come and talk about issues. That's where the board stands up. So this is what we've done for the last 5 years, and you get people coming to that meeting that you don't normally get in the
I
past.
understand that, is the thought that it's really broken?
I don't think it's broken.
I don't think it's broken. Why do it?
You don't want people to come to your meeting?
No,
Yes, if they want to, but I want everybody to come together as a community and all this political stuff to be put aside. For
It's a
just
political
moment.
meeting, so it's nice to have a little
It's
food
the
with it.
annual members meeting, and it is extremely powerful, and it is for the members. That is what it's for,
But
and
as Val just stated, a lot of people will come and go to the picnic and then they'll leave because they don't want to hear the dissent.
If you try to do what you suggested, they will.
Yeah.
They'll come and eat and go home, they won't stay for the meeting.
right,
Yeah, so in other words, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's
So
right.
you need to leave it like it is.
it's our meeting, yes.
So don't do the meeting,
Leave it alone.
don't do the picnic first thing in the meeting.
You can go
No.
to it later.
Gotcha.
I did not do the
Maybe-
picnic. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Don't mind not doing the picnic.
It's not broken.
What?
Do not want to do the picnic.
Well, we just-
I
Can we
think
just
should
keep it as
pick-
is?
Yeah, I do too.
But I want it to be pleasant nights. I don't want it to be contentious and people.
Like last year?
Last year was awful. It was
Yeah.
very
Way
awful.
to go, Brad.
Really was.
Yeah, way to go,
Yeah.
Brad.
It was not the members.
Well, you know what, you never know, this year could be better, you just gotta think positive.
I go to the
bring it up.
meeting, not the
Okay.
meeting, so very good.
A lot of
Doesn't hurt
people
to bring it up.
Another member concerns?
Something said last year.
Yes, member concerns, and most of the people are gone, but there's a huge member concern that people don't realize that when they go to the website, if they want to go to the water company, they just put their icon on the water company and then click on that and it will open. Because I think some members are having trouble with that they don't really, they'll say, well, I went to the website and I did not, I couldn't find that information. And so it's just a very simple thing. And for those folks who aren't real familiar with how that works, I wanted to put that out there so that they would be aware of how that works.
So specifically on the Ponderosa Pines Property Owners Association official website, in the upper right-hand corner, there is a link that says Ponderosa Pines Water Company. You click on that one and it takes you to the water company website.
Maybe say, click on this to go to the water company?
Click me.
Click
I
here.
mean, it's a hot link,
Yeah.
you know?
Click
And
here.
another concern we have, and
Click
this is,
here.
this is gonna be a real hot button, so I'm
Yep.
getting ready but we've had several complaints, both written and oral, from people who, don't know where information's coming from. And so we want to be careful that things don't get misused, that people who were on boards or committees don't use their email list to send out things that are their own personal opinions. Because we are getting complaints on it, so I did want to bring that up.
Okay. Upcoming events. Sue, there's a couple, the boot camp, sure.
Yeah, there's a couple sessions coming up. One on April the 5th, well, I'll do April the 11th first. That's the CAI boot camp that's on Saturday. It's a half a day. And then the next one is the Community Association Law Group is hosting a free event on April 15th, and Danelle and I are going to participate on that one. I've never would have been.
Okay, I've got the boot camp on my calendar.
Is it long?
It's a, I've sent the board the notices or the invitations to it, so.
Let me check whether I could attend the 15th with you.
It's on an evening, it's in Bend, it's from 7 to 8:30, I believe.
Okay. And anybody else is signing up, going to join the boot camp?
No, I think the boot camp.
Nope.
I'll go.
I don't have time in my schedule.
Okay, any other concerns of the board? Concerns of the members. We have one that specifically asked for some time.
Yes, I did.
Cheryl?
Yes, I'm Cheryl Riddle, and I did ask to have some time to speak. I had a couple issues. One, I was very disturbed over receiving a personal letter with my name on it from the board that for somehow managed to get onto a Facebook with my name on it. How is it that this board chose to give the information to other members or pass that personal correspondence that went to a member from a board that should only be a personal correspondence to me only? How did it get put or sent to other members and put on Facebook? Sue, how did it get sent to Debbie Sidwell, or how did she put it on the website and then, on her Facebook? It got taken off, yes, and it got changed, but not before it got printed with the fact that it was a letter addressed directly to me.
Well, that
so
letter,
how did that happen?
That letter was to the members.
No, it was not. My name was on it only.
Do you want me to tell you or not?
What are you going to say? You're going to say it's to the members. I have the letter right here.
I do too.
And it's got my name on it only.
I do too. I was instructed to post it and send it out.
With my name on it? By
yes.
Who? Who instructed you to send it out with my name on it?
Report to the board.
Excuse me, Mr. Harris? Why did you send a personal letter addressed to only me out to public?
The instructions were that there were going to be two letters. One that was addressed to you, sent to you, and one that was addressed to the members, sent out.
How did the one with my name on it get put to Facebook?
I have no idea.
Well, you had to have given it to her, because where else would it have come from? I sure as heck didn't give it to her. You board gave a personal correspondence out to the public that was put on for all Facebook members to see. I received the correspondence from Debbie Sidwell showing on the Facebook part. It was sent to me. So I know it was put on with my name. I have a problem with that. Anybody here that would receive a personal correspondence should not have it slandered, put somewhere else. I'm sorry. I think that was very rude and very unprofessional of this board.
Okay.
That's one.
We don't really have much control over Facebook, guys. We only
Excuse me, you do give them the information. Come on. Hey, don't even say something stupid like that. You gave them that information that came from the board.
In fact, when that came through, I remember specifically saying...
Don't even make excuses. It was done. Yeah. It was done wrong, and you fess up to it. Just say, we screwed up.
Somehow it got screwed up.
Okay, but face up to it and say, you made a mistake.
We had specific instructions.
You make mistakes.
Because it just didn't appear out of nowhere.
I
Thank you. Now, I also want to know, since I was at all the meetings, when it was addressed by a member here, when it was addressed to your attorney when he was here, that we had a concern over why the treasurer was handling our funds and our money because of her personal circumstances. I'll be polite and not mention the personal circumstances, but the problem is you have a personal legal circumstances that has to do with finances. And so then the next meeting we came to, after that was addressed to the attorney, we came to the meeting and you stepped down from your treasurer's duties. So you were relieved of the duties of handling our money. Every meeting I come to, you're giving the financials. You're also giving, you went with the CPA. Why is it that we have a person that's been relieved of these duties and we no longer have the treasurer, but she is still doing the treasurer duties?
Nobody's been relieved of the treasurer's duties.
You
resigned.
Excuse me?
She's
Okay,
resigned.
right.
We are actively trying to work on how the treasurer's duties are going to be either disseminated or find another treasurer. But in the meantime, we're trying to figure out how we're going to divvy up the duties.
So she's still handling our finances, though? She's handling everything for the association with our money then?
I
That's
feel
all I'm
the
asking.
need to defend Sue. I've never seen anybody who works as hard, who puts in as many hours, 60 to 80 hours a week. She is.
That's not the
That
point.
is not
That is
the point.
not
Okay.
the point. The point is we are entrusting her to handle all our
We are
finances.
trying to work our treasurer duties. Right now, we're trying to work our treasurer duties. No one's stepped up to help the treasurers. No one's stepped up. We've tried to look at other options on how to handle the treasurer duties. In the meantime, they have to be done.
Also, Jeff, if you would have answered my question 2.5 meetings ago, when I addressed it 3 meetings in a row, how you would protect a person that wanted to come and step up and take the duties or help you out. I asked it 3 times at 3 separate meetings, and it was never answered. It was sidestepped, and it was never answered or probably never asked for any purposes of how would you ensure this person. It was asked, you said you look into it, you look into it. It got answered tonight by Rex.
It did.
But it took 2.5 months for you to get back to me after I had to continuously ask, and you wouldn't have ever had it done had he not been here and answered it, because I did say the question was going to be asked and please be prepared to answer it. So up until then, it would never have gotten answered. I don't like this kind of response from the board. It's showing how you are sidestepping members when you may have had a lot of people in the room want to step up and help you, but you would not give the answer. How would this person be protected if they did want to volunteer? You never did come back with an answer, and it took 3 meetings for me to ask. Before the 4th meeting, it got answered by our insurance agent, only because he was prepared to answer it.
Because we asked them to be prepared to answer it.
No, I did. No, I said be prepared to answer the question that somebody will be asking.
Cheryl, that's
That's
not.
fine.
I'm sorry,
That's not
but
it.
I did.
Well,
Yes, it
you
is.
might have done it, but we've also got him over here to do it specifically to answer that question. But anyway, it doesn't
I've
matter.
also asked a handful of times how we're gonna start handing this stuff off, and no one's replied to it, anybody else.
It's one of the discussion topics I wanted to have when we set up this meeting with the bookkeeper is specifically that, on how we want to do that. That's why I think it was important that we get this meeting with the bookkeeper lined up.
What question was that, Julie? Julie, what question was that?
What was what?
Exactly. The question was, we don't have a treasurer.
Right.
We still have treasurer things that need to be done. So obviously, somebody else besides the fact that we don't have a treasurer is going to have to do some of these things. And so one of the discussions, one of the plans forward, we're going to sit down with the bookkeeper, make sure we know what the things are, and then potentially divvy up the responsibilities till we get.
Well, I understand that, but you guys keep saying, we don't get volunteers, we don't get volunteers. It has nothing to do with the money that is spent for wages, has nothing to do with the job. It has everything to do with dealing with the board and the community. That's where your problem lies. People have been on the board, and for whatever the reason, there's conflict within the board, and that member quits. 2 weeks later, somebody else is on the board. That member has a problem, and they quit. And it's ongoing. This is the longest conflict I have ever seen in the 15 years we've been here. Seriously. I've never seen it go on like this. It's a constant battle. Why? It's people with their own personal agenda, and it's my way or the highway. You saw it happen at the budget committee. There was a piece of paper thrown across the room.
I understand.
How come you don't have people? That's what you need to look at.
Well, I remember at many board meetings ago, and I apologize to Cheryl Riddle for this, because I remember standing up and saying, why can't you people keep anybody on the board? And now I know why. I mean, it's the contention, it's the sadness, it's the heartache, and people go, I don't need this, why am I doing it?
I'm not buying that, because I asked Jeff that question tonight. And I asked it for a reason, because I knew what answer I was going to get. And we had one volunteer to sit on the board. What's been done? Have you even addressed that tonight? Hell no!
Because they don't want the person
You're
on the board.
sorry.
That's right.
Sorry individual.
Because they're selected.
You know, we all moved to Ponderosa Pines to get away from this kind of crap in the cities.
Yeah.
And you guys are bringing it right up front. We want to be left alone and live our retirement lives. We don't want all this crap.
I agree.
Well, let's do it then.
You know what? Let's just have a road committee, a commons committee, hire our treasury out.
That's right.
Do away with the board.
Let's just
Take whenever anything comes up, do a vote,
forget it.
call it quits. You guys don't have to put up with it, neither do we.
Yes.
Another
Another concern? Go ahead.
What'd you say, Sue?
Go ahead.
The state will take you over.
Carolyn Barker. I have two things, if I could say them both, because then I don't have to keep my hand up. Number one is, has the bookkeeper been instructed to not send monthly statements anymore? I hope. No?
If you're on a monthly payment plan,
You're going to get a monthly statement? Why?
Why?
If I send in the thing at the first of the year that says, I'm gonna pay you monthly, I shouldn't have to hear from them unless I'm late or I'm behind. You're wasting
Okay.
postage.
And you're
Thank you.
wasting
And
their
when I
time.
sent him the first one at the first of the year in January, and no, this is already March, and no, I have not received a monthly statement, even though you're telling me that I'm going to. Because I divided it all up by 12, and I put my little note on there, and I said, at the end of the year, I will owe you this much. However, if you mail me a monthly statement, you will owe me $5. Because that's what's going to cost for postage all year long, which is ridiculous.
That's right.
If I'm late, please send me a statement or call me or send me an email. But I'm not late because it's set up on bill pay and the bank doesn't screw up.
Good.
Number two,
Good point.
what's the status, and is it our problem with the parcel boxes at the mailbox? Is it the post office or is it us? We have 10 locking boxes, and at any one time, maybe 5 of them are functioning. So, is it our problem, or is it the postal problem? Is it a money problem? What's the reason? And I realize that if people don't pick up their mail every day, that, you know, there aren't always parcel boxes available. But when they're broke and they can't use them, they don't even bother to leave the post office with the package because they go, oh, I've already got 3 in the car, leave the
Okay.
rest of them there.
Both
So-
good topics. Both good topics for us to address.
Thank you.
Paula Green, also, while you're making notes, one time I went by when they were putting stuff in the boxes, and one of those postal boxes was completely filled with magazines. And I don't know if they're still there or not, but this was about a month or so ago. There was just like a whole big stack of magazines.
Was it
Dave on?
Avon?
Probably in one of the broken ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in one of the broken.
Well,
Okay.
then it should be fixed, but why are they even in there?
Because
Well,
somebody put them in there.
There's
People
somebody-
just throwing their
Okay,
garbage in.
my next question is going back to the picnic. There's a lot of people that do come over the hill or out of state or whatever for the picnic and the meeting, not only just for the food, but to vote. They want to vote in person. They don't want to have a proxy vote or send it with somebody else. So they do come, so
So
you've
it
got
sounds
to
like
have
I'm
a
hearing
vote
you
up
guys want
in
to
the
keep the
beginning
picnic.
or the end.
We already decided?
We've already decided that.
Okay.
We're gonna keep the picnic the way.
Well, I'm just saying that's something to think
Sure.
about it. And
I agree.
I'm gonna probably get kicked for this one, but you know, a lot of people put their hands up all the time, and we're waving and we're waving, and I know you only want to take a certain amount of people, but your eyes never come up off your paper, hardly ever. I'm sitting here and I'm looking at you.
And I'm listening. I can listen and
No,
write.
you can't see my hand up in the air, especially if we're in the back.
I try to get to everybody, but I'll try harder to do.
No, your eyes are down always. They're hardly ever up to where you're looking to see if who. Maybe you need to get up off your chair.
Take that advice.
And you're the one that calls on people, not the rest of the board.
Take your advice. Thank you.
Thank you. Not that I would really say very much, but
Yes, Chair Riddle, I have a concern over comments that were made by the treasurer about what you taking an extension out. And as your past treasurer for 5 years, I really, there's only a certain way, this issue of, well, then she's gonna put you on an extension because she has too many other people, I mean, come on. If you get your stuff, I knew how to get the stuff. We always had our bookkeeper, our accountant, our bookkeeper had to get the information to the accountant so he could get the report out, get taxes done. And it also entailed the treasurer to get that information and the bookkeeper to get it prepared and get it ready to send. And it was always done on time in a timely manner so that the CPA could get the taxes done in plenty of time. So for the excuse to be saying that your CPA has to put you on an extension because it's got to be because the information was not given to the CPA on time by the bookkeeper or the finances.
Cheryl,
So I don't buy this. I don't
okay,
like to hear
I've already
this.
asked the question let's find out why we need an extension.
I
I've already
know.
asked that, okay? So
But
let's
we were given an answer because he has too many clients. I don't like to hear that come
Okay.
from a board.
okay.
When I know I've done it for 5 years for you, so I know different. So I don't like to hear a board give a report like that to the members when it's false. It's not correct. And it irritates me to hear you lie up there to the members when I did it for 5 years and I know different. So I don't like to hear that. That's what puts the non-faith in us to you when we hear that kind of stuff. A lot of the members out here don't understand
Okay.
and know that,
Okay, we've
but
got
I
that.
do.
We've got it. Any other concerns?
Yep, you got it, but you want to.
Yeah, go ahead, Des.
So enthused. I could tell.
He's looking at you.
Oh, go ahead, Des. Just a really, well,
I'm
you
here.
reek of enthusiasm. Oh my God, it's Des. Anyway, once again, business registry for the association as of 3/25/15. Danielle Emery is president, Sumo secretary, and we need to update that.
Okay.
When we get
Yes.
the renewal, we update it.
You can amend it before it's
You're supposed
up
to
for a
do it
renewal. Are you supposed to legally or?
You don't have to actually, if it's, I mean, it should be,
Okay,
but you don't have to. When it comes and they ask you on the annual statement, on your renewal, if there's any changes,
Okay.
then you make the corrections, yeah.
okay, well, let's get that fixed.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I have one thing real quick. Barb asked me to let people know that if you guys want a copy of the videotape, she put me on the hot seat, so email me, and I'll send her the information.
Okay,
And anyone else you know.
that's good information. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Second? Okay, the next meeting is Thursday, April 30th, 2015, here. Meeting is adjourned at 9:08.